Hello and welcome to the World News on VOP TV. I am Esther Arimewem. We begin the news with Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, who resigned and fled to neighboring India yesterday after protesters stormed her official residence after weeks of deadly anti-government demonstrations in the Southern Asian nation. Citizens erupted in jubilation all over the street as protesters celebrated the end of her 15 years in power by climbing end tanks and scaling an imposing statue of Hasina's father, independence leader Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, in Dhaka, attacking the head with an axe. In a national address, Bangladesh Army Chief General Waka Uzzaman confirmed Hasina had resigned and said the military would form an interim government. In his address to likely young Bangladeshis and students, he promised they would fulfill whatever demands they had and bring back peace to the nation, but also appealed to them to stay away from violence. He added that neither the military nor the police was not going to fire at anyone, as he had given orders. A senior official from Bangladesh Foreign Ministry told the media today that Hasina is now in a safer location close to Delhi. The Indian Foreign Minister has revealed that ousted Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina made a request to come to India at very short notice. Sheikh Hasina fled from Bangladesh to India yesterday evening after a political crisis toppled her government. Prime Minister S. Jaishankar did not mention how long she would stay in the country or what her next steps would be in his official comments since the crisis peaked in Bangladesh. He said India had been in regular contact with authorities in Dhaka over the past 24 hours. Yesterday, India deployed additional troops along the border with Bangladesh Foreign Minister Jaishankar said the situation there was still evolving and the government was in close and continuous touch with the Indian community through its diplomatic missions. The minister said there are around 19,000 Indians, including 9,000 students in Bangladesh, and added that most of the students had returned to India in July. It said India was monitoring the situation regarding the status of minorities in the country. Bangladesh president dissolved parliament today, clearing the way for new election to replace longtime Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who resigned and left the country the day before after weeks of violent unrest. Earlier today, a key organizer of Bangladesh student protests called for Nobel Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus to head an interim government. Bangladesh figurehead President Mohammed Shahabuddin and its top military commander said late yesterday that an interim government will be formed soon to preside over a new election. Yunus, who is in Paris, according to Indian media, told student leaders he would be willing to serve in light of the country's present situation. Yunus, who called Hasina's resignation the country's second liberation day, is a long-time opponent of the ousted leader. During her administration, the government accused him of corruption and put him on trial on charges he said were motivated by vengeance. He received the Nobel in 2006 for work pioneering micro-lending. Islam said the student protesters would propose more names for the cabinet and suggested that it would be difficult for those in power to ignore their wishes. The Israeli army today announced withdrawal of its troops from Jenin, northern occupied West Bank, after a 20 hours military operation that killed 4 Palestinians. In a separate statement, the Palestinian Health Ministry and the Red Crescent Society confirmed the death of 4 Palestinians in Israeli airstrikes and 2 cars in the eastern neighborhood of Jenin. Witnesses told newsmen that the Israeli army, confronted by a Palestinian resistance group, raided several neighborhoods and stormed into Palestinian homes during long hours operation. Tensions have been running high across the occupied Palestinian territories as Israel continues its offensive in the Gaza Strip since the October 7, 2023 Hamas incursion. It has killed around 40,000 Palestinians and reduced the territory to a rubble. At least 614 Palestinians have been killed and nearly 5,400 others injured by Israeli army in the West Bank since last October. In a landmark opinion on July 19, the International Court of Justice declared Israel's decade-long occupation of Palestinian land illegal and demanded the evacuation of all existing settlements in the West Bank and the East Jerusalem. At least 5 United States personnel were injured in an attack against a military base in Iraq, U.S. officials have said, amid rising tensions following last week's killing of senior members of Hamas and Hezbollah. 2 were injured in a Hezbollah drone attack on northern Israel, raising concerns about a potential escalation into full-scale conflict. The Israeli army reported that several drones were launched from Lebanon into northern Israel. 1 drone was intercepted while another crashed into the city of Nahariya. The injuries included 1 person in serious condition. The attack triggered rocket sirens in multiple northern Israeli regions. Hezbollah confirmed it launched a swarm of combat drones targeting the Golan Brigade headquarters and the Egos Unit 621 at the Sharag army base near Acre. Tensions between Hezbollah and Israel have intensified following the assassination of senior military commander Fawad Shukr in a July 30 airstrike in British southern suburbs. Additionally, Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh was reportedly killed in Tehran the following day, while Iran and Hamas have accused Israel of the assassination. Russia has increasingly expressed opposition to Western social liberalism, particularly regarding non-traditional sexual relations and gender identity. Last year, the Russian Supreme Court labeled the international LGBT movement as extremist, leading to fines and short-term imprisonment for displaying rainbow-themed material. Since the onset of the Ukraine conflict in 2022, Putin has characterized the West as satanic and accused it of attempting to undermine Russia through the export of liberal ideologies. You're still watching the World News on VOP TV. More story after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Far-right violence has continued across parts of the United Kingdom. Clashes between rioters and police took place yesterday night in Belfast, Darlington in northeast England, and Plymouth in the south. Devon and Cornwall police said they had arrested 6 people in Plymouth after levels of violence across the city in the evening that left several officers and some members of the public injured, and 2 people were taken to hospital. They stated that violence and hate would not be tolerated. The British government is trying to quell the violence and that began a week ago following a knife attack on a children's dance class in northwestern Southport that left 3 girls dead. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has blamed the lawlessness and far-right activists and disinformation on social media and has promised swift criminal sanctions against offenders. The violence began hours after residents held a vigil for the girls killed and injured in the dance attack when an angry crowd targeted Southport's mosques. Mobs have since attacked hotels, housing asylum seekers, as well as mosques, amid false rumors that the Southport suspect was a Muslim asylum seeker. Nearly 400 people have been arrested over the past week, and some of those charged in connection with the riot appeared yesterday in various magistrate courts, including in Liverpool, South Tyneside, and Hull. Government stunned a helicopter and killed its New Zealand pilot shortly after it landed in Indonesia Recife Popa region yesterday, and they released 2 health workers and 2 children it was carrying. Faiza Ramandani, a national police member who heads the Joint Security Peace Force in Pupa, said Glenn Malcolm Conning, a pilot for Indonesia Aviation Company PT Intan Angkasa Air Service, was shot to death by gunmen, allegedly with the West Popa Liberation Army, the armed wing of the Free Popa movement, after landing in Alama, a remote village in the Mimika district of Central Popa province. It said that the gunmen released the indigenous Popa passengers and set fire to the plane. New Zealand's Foreign Ministry confirmed late yesterday that Cunning had been killed. Consular officials in Jakarta were working with authorities to understand more about the circumstances surrounding the helicopter's pilot as an effective governing partner should she prevail against Trump. Kamala Harris's picked Tim Walz as a running mate for the presidential election. Harris is yet to make the official announcement. However, top media outlets have confirmed Walz is a pick. The Minnesota governor and former high school teacher will become vice president if Harris beats Donald Trump in November. Walz gained national attention for a strategy of calling Trump and J.D. Vance weird, a phrase Harris had adopted when talking about her rival. The Harris campaign will be helping Walz plain-spoken and small-town Midwestern persona could appeal to independent and conservative voters. The Trump-Vance campaign has issued a statement calling Walz a dangerously liberal extremist. Harris will officially introduce Walz as a running mate at a rally in Philadelphia tonight. Then they will tour key battleground states. A Mexican journalist who covered one of the country's most dangerous crime beats was killed by gunmen on Sunday, with two of its government-assigned bodyguards wounded. His death was confirmed by a reporter in a web news page which usually covered community news and crime. Celaya, the most dangerous city for police officers in Mexico. The Celaya Police Department said Martinez was shot to death by assailants traveling in another vehicle. The department said the two bodyguards were being treated for their wounds but did not say what their condition was. The journalist had been assigned police protection after he reported receiving threats. Prosecutors in the north-central state of Guanajuato said they were investigating the killing. Amnesty International has urged Georgian authorities to hold off on extraditing self-exiled Azerbaijan journalist Afgan Sadikov, who was detained in Tbilisi and placed in a deportation center on August 3rd. In a statement yesterday, Amnesty International Deputy Director for Eastern Europe and Central Asia, Denis Krivoshev, called on the Georgian government to respect its international obligation and provide Sadikov and his family members with international protection if they asked for it. A Georgian court's decision on Sadikov's extradition is pending. Amnesty International also called on Baku to stop its politically motivated crackdown on dissent and independent media, demanding the immediate release of those imprisoned solely for exercising their freedom of expression. Sadikov, who runs a news outlet, has been arrested in Baku several times since 2016 and served more than a year in prison for his reporting. In May 2020, he was sentenced to 7 years in prison on extortion charges that he and his supporters have rejected as politically motivated. The committee to project journalists demanded his release at the time and called the charges against him fabricated. Sadikov was released in May 2023 after he was pardoned but continued to face pressure from the authorities, which led to his departure for Georgia in December 2023. Up next, business, sport, and entertainment story. Please stay with us. Welcome back. In a landmark ruling, a U.S. judge has found Google guilty of violating antitrust laws by spending billions of dollars to maintain its monopoly as the world's default research engine. This decision marks a significant win for federal authorities in their effort to curtail big tech market dominance. The ruling sets the stage for a second trial to determine potential remedies, which could include breaking up Google's parent company, Alphabet. The judge noted that Google paid $26.3 billion in 2021 to secure its position as the default search engine on smartphones and browsers, underscoring the competitive disadvantage faced by new entrants. Alphabet plans to appeal the decision, arguing that the ruling misunderstands the value Google provides. The case is part of a broader push against monopolist practices in big tech, with other major companies like Meta, Amazon, and Apple also facing antitrust lawsuits. Several Western companies have divested their Russian assets in response to sanctions over the war in Ukraine and threats from Kremlin. The size foreign-owned businesses notably exist include automotive giant Continental and Volkswagen, which sold their Russian operation to local entities in 2023. Renault transferred its majority stake in Avtovaz to the Russian state in 2022 for a symbolic ₹1. In the banking sector, HSB and the Society Generale sold their Russian unit, while in the energy sector, Shell sold its Russian retail and lubricants business to Lukoil in 2022. Food and beverages companies like AB, InBev, and Danone also exited the market, facing significant financial during the conversation with Ozjane Pauli. The former suit actress reflected on a statement about battling suicidal thoughts from Oprah's bombshell show. The royal experts believe that the mother of three might be hinting at a future project in which she will open up more about the mental struggles caused during her life in the UK. Tessa shared, breakdown what Meghan said and her healing journey, one she believes is so important, remains incomplete. Clearly, a session on Oprah was insufficient when it came to being really open about a suicidal plight inside the royal family. The involuntary manslaughter case against Hollywood star Alec Baldwin over a fatal shooting on the set of the film Rust was improperly dismissed by the judge, according to the prosecutor Carrie Morrissey. The trial collapsed after just 3 days based on testimony that police and prosecutors had withheld potential evidence from the defense. The actor was holding a gun which went off on the set in New Mexico in 2021, killing cinematographer Elna Watkins and wounding director Joe Souza. Carrie Morrissey, who is the lead prosecutor in both the Baldwin and Gretes cases, says Judge Mary Marlowe Sommer misunderstood the evidence. The New Mexico judge threw the case and based on the misconduct of police and prosecutors over the withholding of ammunition evidence from the defense, while also confirming charges cannot be filed again. In sports, Germany makes history, reaches Olympic men's basketball semi-finals for the first time. In a thrilling comeback, Germany defeated Greece 76-63, led by Franz Wagner's 18-point and ousted two-time NBA MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo from the games. After trailing by 12 points in the first quarter, Germany rallied to tie the score at halftime and put away in the fourth quarter. Jonas Tielemans' dunk with 1:24 left in the third quarter gave Germany a 54-50 lead, and he finished with 10 points, 6 rebounds, and a steal. Dennis Schroeder added 13 points and assists off the bench. Germany remains unbeaten in 4 games and will face either France or Canada in the semi-finals for a chance to advance to the final. Manchester City forward Julian Alvarez is set to join Atletico Madrid in a record-breaking €81.5 million deal. The transfer fee comprises an initial €64.4 million plus an additional €17.1 million in potential add-ons. This surpasses the €50 Chelsea paid for Raheem Sterling in 2022, making it City's largest ever sale. Alvarez, 24, had delayed making a decision on his future until Argentina's Olympic campaign ended. Following the elimination by France, he is now free to finalize the move. And that's a wrap on today's World News on VOP TV. I am Esther Arimimem. Good evening.